Hey, today we're celebrating the start of the season. We're taking a look at some opening night action, and then we're making our season-long predictions. I'm Frank Spiro. Let's talk basketball. Last night was a rousing night of round ball. We're gonna get to the highlights in a second, but first, picture this. Day breaks. Your eyes flutter open. Last night's dream, nothing but a fleeting memory. You turn to your side. Next to you is your family of 8. All sharing the same bed, alternating head to toe, like the grandparents in Willy Wonka. A rooster screeches. Your youngest son, Ezekiel, the one you found in the woods, he lightly snores, and you smile. For today is a new day, and with it, the NBA season has begun. And like all new beginnings, hope is abundant for fan bases across the league. In Memphis, they believe Ja Morant might take the next step in his career. In Dallas, they think Luka Doncic could be the next league MVP. And in Houston, fans are hopeful that they might fall into a kind of coma where time, space, and all the troubles in the world might pass them by. If you've been following the drama leading into this NBA season, you know there is nowhere more totally middle school right now than Houston. After requesting a trade, James Harden was late to Houston Rockets training camp, instead choosing to attend rapper DaBaby's birthday party in Atlanta, then fly to Vegas to do some more partying. NBA reporter Shams Charania, the Pusha T to Adrian Wojnarowski's Drake, "We know about your son, Audrey," has reported that the Philadelphia 76ers have made point guard who's a power forward Ben Simmons available in trade talks. This is surprising, as the Philadelphia 76ers just used Ben Simmons to model their new City Edition jerseys. The jerseys are a nod to the Philadelphia streets, depicting Boathouse Row. True to form, if you zoom in on the jersey, you can actually see a priest getting mugged. But enough rumors. There are real NBA games to get to. Action started last night as the Brooklyn Nets faced off against the Golden State Warriors. We're gonna start with a Warriors highlight, but don't get used to it in this game. James Wiseman, the second overall pick with the slam. But it was all the Nets stars early. Kevin Durant at the top of the key, then the servant, as he once asked to be called, with a follow-away jumper. Irving swerving through the lane and finishing over traffic. Then Kyrie capitalizes on a corner 3. That one's good. It was all Nets early in this one, but the Warriors would fight back. The 3 there, and then Kelly Oubre Jr. with the putback slam over Kevin Durant. Man, this Nets team is deep. Karis LeVert with the follow-away, then Spencer Dinwiddie to Allen, out to LeVert, who hits another 3. If I was an NBA defender and I saw Kyrie do any of these moves to me, I'd simply just leave. Kyrie Irving to Jeff Green for the slam. He's a newcomer to the Nets. And then Kyrie Irving to end the half. Ooh. Would the Warriors have some fight in the second half, though? No. They wouldn't. Kevin Durant going into point guard mode, finding Joe Harris, and then finishing things off with a slam. This thing was over early. Final score, Brooklyn Nets 125, Golden State Warriors 99. The Golden State Warriors' beloved trio of Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green, the spiritual Haim sisters of the NBA, will have to wait until next year to reunite. After missing last year with a torn ACL, Klay Thompson tore his Achilles training this past offseason. Now it's up to Esty and Danielle to make do without Alana, which is actually where this analogy falls apart, because the Warriors really need Thompson, whereas Alana is the shortest and therefore weakest Haim. The Warriors are hoping that the combination of young talent like draft pick James Wiseman and new acquisitions like Kelly Oubre Jr. are enough to fill the hole left by Thompson's absence. Which is a little bit like accidentally killing the groom at his bachelor party and then trying to replace him with a half-dressed mannequin at the wedding. Which is to say, it just might work. The Nets are favorites in the East, but the early season has been embroiled in controversy due to comments made by Kyrie Irving. Irving refused to talk to media members during the preseason, instead releasing a statement that says, "I do not talk to prawns. My attention is worth more than that." Which is a little strange, Kyrie, because prawns are actually some of the most important crustacean life on the ocean floor. If you look at the bio... What?
He said pawns, like the chess piece.
Oh. So what, like none of this material works? I had the whole thing written out. It was going to be like a John Oliver expose.
No, just cut to the punchline and we'll make it work in post.
Okay, yeah, just cut to the punchline. So Kyrie Irving, if you can't come to appreciate crayfish, You cray, fish. The Nets will have competition in the East, though, and for years to come. Giannis Antetokounmpo signed his max extension with the Bucks, keeping him in Milwaukee for the next 6 years. Anxious Bucks fans can finally breathe a sigh of relief, knowing their team will be allowed to continue fizzling out in the second round of the playoffs. Famously filling the role of Bucks spoiler last season, the Miami Heat are coming off a finals appearance. They attribute their improbable playoff run to Heat culture, which seems to be a nickname for shotgunning what your DJ stepbrother is calling a homemade Four Loko while on your way to a club where you give your ID to everyone because it's impossible to tell who the bouncer is, and then waking up at 8 a.m. to do crunches. The Heat start their season tonight against the Orlando Magic. Then they have a Christmas Day matchup against the New Orleans Pelicans. Rookie Precious Achiuwa will probably have to face up against Zion Williamson in that game. What a hellish way to come into the league. That's like saying welcome to nursing school. Today you'll be curing COVID. Or it's like saying welcome to mediation school. Today we'd like you to fix the issues in the Jazz locker room. The late game last night was Clippers v. Lakers, Battle Los Angeles. Let's look at some highlights.
It's just a dog. Dog. What's his name, huh? Glenn. Oh, you kidding me? Who's the idiot naming dogs these days, Lieutenant? What do you want to call him, Fido?
Whoops, that's clearly a scene from the movie Battle Los Angeles. Let's try that one more time.
You gotta be kidding me.
Okay, no, that's wrong. That's clearly not right. That's Escape from Los Angeles. Do we have any basketball footage? I know you know that's not right. I know you know that that footage is supposed to be basketball. I know you know that. And you read the script last night. You could have told me it was Pawns. The LA Lakers and LA Clippers faced off last night. It was the newcomers for the Clippers who got things started early. Nicolas Batum, the Frenchman from Charlotte, gets in the lane, leaves it off to Serge Ibaka, who finishes over Marc Gasol. Anthony Davis, the unibrow, he slams it home. He's wont to do that. Kawhi Leonard spins, finishes at the rim, and then Montrezl Harrell, moving from LA last year, now in LA. KCP with the dunk, that's authority, and then LeBron James. If an old man dunks in an empty gym, does it make a sound? Yes! LeBron getting in his time machine. This is vintage LeBron. LeBron James. And then he hits the deep three. Montrezl Harrell would then get the lay-in, finishing over traffic. And then Luke Kennard would just take this game over. Just kidding. Paul George would though. He gets past Kyle Kuzma and lays it in, then hits the tough fall-away mid-range. Paul George, Paulie G with the three. LeBron would try and bring his team back late, spinning into the lane, but Paul George would be too much. The and one three-pointer, and then Kawhi Leonard putting the game away, beating the shot clock. Final score, Clippers 116, Lakers 109. The Clippers disappointed last season after losing in the second round of the playoffs, largely due to chemistry concerns on the team. After the season was over, the Clippers fired head coach Doc Rivers, which seems to be the final step of Paul George's little plan to ruin Doc Rivers' life. A quick recap. Paul George dates Doc's daughter, Callie, then cheats on her with a stripper who he impregnates. Then George gets his friend Kawhi to get Doc Rivers to trade away 5 first-round draft picks, Danilo Gallinari, and promising young star Shai Gilgeous-Alexander for George. Then, and this is the genius part, George tanks in the playoffs. He throws Doc Rivers under the bus, then signs a 5-year extension in Los Angeles. He's old-boying him. He's Count of Monte Cristoing him. Paul George is fatal attractioning Doc Rivers. You'll get to see the Clippers again on Christmas night as they face off against the Nuggets, who came back from a 3-1 deficit to beat the Clippers in the playoffs. The Nuggets are led by Serbian Frankenstein's monster, Nikola Jokic. If you haven't had a chance to watch Jokic play, you should. It's kind of like watching a Disney Channel movie about a Serbian boy who wishes upon a star to play in the NBA. The defending champion Lakers are heavy favorites to repeat this season, since they've only gotten better and deeper this offseason. Beyond a host of signings, second-year player Talen Horton-Tucker, if the preseason is to be believed, might make a huge impact off the bench. Yeah, that cat Talon is one bad Horton.
Shut your down.
Horton Tucker was on a tear this preseason, averaging 20.5 points per game. Check out this play, where Talon Horton Tucker Kawhi's Kawhi Leonard, forcing Kawhi to look more like second-year player Talon Horton Tucker.
Kawhi Leonard, he's what it all revolves around. Won a championship with two teams. Well, look at THT taking it right away from off the chart. He bounces it to the wide open THT on its way, and down it goes. Yes, sir.
The Lakers are favorites in the West, but that doesn't mean they won't have competition. The Trailblazers are hoping moves at the edge of their roster, like adding Robert Covington, Derrick Jones Jr., and Enes Kanter will lead them to a championship this season. If you're picking the Trailblazers to win the championship, you probably value loyalty and continuity. You also probably live in Portland. As a matter of fact, you probably grew up there. Yeah, sure, maybe you left for a little bit. Decided to take a walk on the wild side, New Orleans, where the booze flows free and you either find yourself or you die trying. Maybe you wanted to do good. Join the paramedics, become an EMT. Little did you know the front lines of good is face to face with evil. Some shit you can't unsee. So you move back home to Portland, join the family business, commercial real estate. Your name is probably Brian, no? Drop the B. Ryan. Yeah, if you're picking the Trailblazers to win, you're probably a fighter. And your name is probably Ryan. The Mavericks also believe they're dark horse favorites to win the Larry O'Brien this year. Luka Doncic, the Timothy Chalamet of the NBA, had a great showing in the bubble. But what do we at Let's Talk Basketball believe? Well, that leads us into our next segment, where we'll discuss our predictions for the season. This is Scoreboardical Oracle. Please welcome my tallest friend, Brian.
Thank you, Frank. It is a pleasure, once again, to be here.
Of course, Brian. Are you excited to make some predictions about this NBA season?
I think I'm ready, Frank.
Very good. I'll start. The West is going to be very tough this season, but I do think there's a team that will exceed expectations. I see the Pelicans as the 5th seed in the West this year. Yes, the Pelicans have weaknesses, but the strength of their strengths cannot be overlooked. Historically, a team's regular season record has more to do with their strengths than their weaknesses. Take the Milwaukee Bucks of the last 2 years, for example. They've had great regular seasons led by their strengths, but by the time they get to the playoffs, their weaknesses rear their ugly head. I think that the Pelicans will have a very similar season to that. Brian?
Well, Frank, I think we can all agree that 2020 was a bit of a bummer. But I think that can be largely attributed to the fact that it was a year of the rat in the Chinese zodiac calendar. Who likes rats? They're filthy, they're conniving, and they've made a home in the walls of my studio apartment. Me? I was born in the year of the dragon, and us dragon men are famously independent. We don't need any close friends or lovers or family to tell us what they mean to us. Nope, we're completely fine alone. I see the Lakers winning the championship.
You know, a lot of people think LaMelo Ball is going to win Rookie of the Year this year. But I see Patrick Williams of the Bulls winning Rookie of the Year. He looked really good this preseason, and as the Bulls continue to go nowhere fast, I can see them doubling down on young talent early in the season.
You know, Frank, I'd like to make a little amendment to that last prediction. I might have been born in the year of the dragon, but of course I'm a human man and I have simple needs. It might be nice to have a partner, a lover, someone to share life's simple joys and sorrows with, somebody to watch the seasons change with, somebody to snuggle up after a horror movie with so you don't feel so afraid when the lights are off.
That's great.
So in the spirit of manifesting my own destiny and actualizing my dreams, I'm just going to put it out there. 2021 is the year where I find somebody. It's the year I find the girl of my dreams.
Hey, you know what? That's the spirit, Brian. I hope that for you too. I see the 76ers.
Let's manifest everything. And 2021 is going to be the year I finally make it. 2021, I make 5 figures.
Okay. I see the 76ers as the top seed in the East this season. You know, they underperformed last year, but I think new additions like Doc Rivers and Daryl Morey are really going to help this team exceed expectations this year. If the 76ers are the top seed in the East, Don't be surprised if Joel Embiid wins MVP as well.
Maybe my old boss Dave dies in a boating accident. Dave, who famously told me it was depressing for a host at Chili's to divulge that much personal information to customers. Well, who's depressing customers now, Dave? You are, with your gruesome and untimely death.
Doesn't quite seem basketball related, Brian.
It's going to be a great year for basketball. Maybe I'll dye my hair yellow. Maybe I'll get a fun hat. Maybe I'll get a facial tattoo, like a dragon or some Chinese characters or lines to bring out my best features. Maybe I'll get an inspirational quote right across my head. Maybe I'll come up with my own inspirational quote and amass thousands of followers like Jesus or Greta Thunberg. Just come up with my own inspirational quote and say it off the cuff. Like, if you bring a man to the water with thirst,
I think we can move on.
he shall find
All right, well,
the inner hunger at the water as he drinks. I don't know. That's just off the top of my head. Dribble on down to the court, shall you, and make a free throw from the bank shot line.
all right, well, that's Yoda. You know what? This segment is over. Let's just put the graphic up. This is what we think is going to happen in the East and West this season. Don't agree? Let us know in the comments. Agree wholeheartedly? Well, that means that you're officially the host of the show now. Congratulations. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Frank Spiro. This has been Let's Talk Basketball. Please like, subscribe, share, send to your family, your friends, coworkers, acquaintances, pets, anything really. These are the people who helped me with today's episode. Have a happy holidays and we'll see you next week.